I might even
Yeah,
leave
but
this in if it's not too shit. Just
What if,
start talking. We're just gonna be
yeah,
like,
but
what if
I think it's going to
VHS
get.
was the future of home entertainment?
I know, Johnny. Imagine that, man. It's a brave new world in the 80s.
Oh, come on! Did you have a VHS with the cable attached to the remote, so you had to sit like really close?
What is this
to it?
sorcery, man? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm still on floppy disks.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GSC podcast. I'm your host, Louchy. This week, I'm joined by Johnny.
Hello.
Jamie C.
Hey guys.
And Gianni Spagnoli.
Hello.
How's it going, all?
Good.
Not bad.
Yeah, we're surviving.
Sunny
It is very sunny.
weather.
Okay, well, we'll start as we always do with what we've been playing this week. Johnny, what have you been sacrificing this week, man?
What? Self-sacrifice, man.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Sacrificing my life for this game. So we've been playing this a lot, and it's good. You should probably buy it, everyone.
Well,
So did this come out last week? Is it just launched? Because I remember last week we were talking about the demo, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
it's launched in between then.
So this came out Friday. With the demo, you get like the first couple of missions, and then you can carry on from where you left off when you buy the
Okay.
game. You import your save, sort of thing.
they give you this sweet-ass golem as well for playing the demo, so definitely do it in that order, because I haven't found anything
Yeah.
better than it yet.
It's extremely strong. You get this really powerful spell. It's very much like Monster Hunter, but way more focused on being a sorcerer, spells, rather than getting weapons and.
Think the game God Eater Burst, but crossed with Harry Potter, and you're not far off, man. That game was really
Why'd you have to
good.
put Harry Potter in there?
Because it's magical Hogwarts, man.
It's nothing like Harry Potter.
Look, it's got wizards, just like Harry Potter. Right?
People
Why
are
you
burning their
people off
skin
it?
off to do powerful magic.
Yeah.
Come on. then.
Voldemort's not got a nose. What's your point? Alright. What else have you been playing this week, man?
More self-sacrifice.
More
That game,
self-sacrifice.
literally, just been playing that. Yeah, very good. We'll talk
Awesome.
about it later.
Jamie, what have you been up to this week, man?
I finally got involved with that little Marmite game known as Hitman Absolution. All of the reviews seem to be split right down the middle on this one, so I thought about time I pick it up and actually get my own opinion on this. And I found it's not actually Marmite after all. I'm down the middle on this one, I'm afraid. I'm finding it really hard to call it. Really hard to call it.
Well,
Like I say, half the reviews are saying crap, half are saying one of the best games out in the last couple of years, and I'm just right down the middle. I can't fully make up my mind.
well, I
I
mean,
like it.
it was a very different take, right? They definitely streamlined a lot of things in it. And the bad reviews are coming from the Hitman purists who are like, well, this isn't the same game. And the good reviews are coming from people who see what they're trying to do with it and see that they're trying to open it up to more people. So I can definitely see why it's split down the middle review-wise.
I think essentially in terms of gameplay, you're looking at Predator mode over and over and over again, and you have to wonder how many times can you do that before it just becomes repetitive. And there are some nice little bits in there, but I think the game opens up halfway through. The first half is quite dull, quite linear, but then towards the back end of the game, more options open up to you, and it just gets a bit more creative, I think.
Well, like I said, I haven't played it, but I've seen some really impressive trailers and things and gameplay footage, like the crowd physics in that one level. How do they actually
There's a bit
come
of the train
across?
station. Yeah, there's a bit of the train station that worked really nicely. You have to blend into the crowds while making your way to the office to switch the train lines back on. That played out really nicely. There's another scene in a gun shop where you have to essentially go one way to get a key card, then another way to break into a safe, and then you get the key to get your guns back from a display cabinet. But the way that level worked was very clever.
Well, in the older games, they always prided themselves on there being no one way to complete a mission. There was always multiple ways you could take down your target and stuff. Did that carry across into this new one?
I think this is where a second playthrough is going to be needed, because I wanted the story this time round, and I found myself almost cheating in a sense, just by chucking on a police uniform and then blending into the crowd a bit more.
Okay.
There are definitely ways through this game for the guys who want to challenge, just staying in your suit and going in.
Did you get Silent Assassin for any of the missions?
No.
Oh,
What is this?
Just went in
Remember that I
guns
suck at
blazing.
games.
just
No.
curious.
I never went in guns blazing, but I could never do it without causing some sort of mess up. But that again, that'll be where a second playthrough comes in, and that's where it's got the replay value, I
That's
guess.
how they get you.
How long did it take you to beat it?
For just the story, you're talking 7 to 8 hours, but it can be so much bigger than that. You say so many different ways to finish a level. There are throughout the levels there are evidence tapes you can get to gain more points. There's just other little side quests running throughout that sit quite nicely in there.
Have you had a chance to get on the contracts mode yet online?
No, maybe next week. I'll have a look.
All right. And lastly, can you sacrifice any people in that game? No,
I don't think you can have a
not
human
interested
skin.
then.
Okay.
Jenny, what have you been up to this
Hello.
week, mate?
I've actually been playing a lot of mobile games at the moment, which we're going to touch on in a bit. So I don't really want to go into too much detail, but mainly puzzle games. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But as I said, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, so I don't want to go into too much at this stage
Fair
and
play, man.
kill all my content.
That's fine, man. Drying up. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to our first topic of discussion this week, which is a new Eternal Darkness game, which isn't actually an Eternal Darkness game. It's a game called Shadow of the Eternals. So this is that Dennis Dyack guy. He was the creator of the first game, I believe, and this time he's looking to crowdfund it through, I think, Kickstarter, but at the moment it's just listed on the website. What do you guys think of Eternal Darkness? Because I didn't play it.
Dennis Dyack, might I add, who was back in November 2011, was inducted into the Canadian Gaming Hall of Fame.
The Canadian... I feel like that's not quite as good as the regular Gaming Hall of Fame. I don't know why.
Some subpar attempt. Yeah, just celebrating mediocrity with these little awards.
Hey, Canada's nice.
I'm sure it is, man. I'd love to go snowboarding there sometime.
But yeah, so Eternal Darkness, Silicon Knights, back in 2002, was one of the highest rated games on the GameCube, and probably the first time in a video game I actually got scared. Like, I actually felt...
Well, it was focusing on virtual insanity, right? So they tried to simulate things going wrong with your TV and things like that to like genuinely jank you up whilst you were playing the game, right?
Yeah, so the game played with hallucinations quite a lot. Just little things, like you say, to really scare you into it.
Well, like I said, I haven't played it, but did it work in the same way that the Psycho Mantis boss fight worked in MGS1? Because in that, halfway through the fight, if you didn't have your controller in Controller Port 2, the screen would just flash black and it would say Hideo in the corner where it usually said video on old TVs,
Yeah.
things like that.
I think Metal Gear played a bit of a comedy card with that one. It was still clever, but it was there as like a... You'd sit back and laugh at it, you'd chuckle, wouldn't you? You'd think it was a good idea. But with this, you're just like, don't fucking do that to me. What is this?
So this new game, Shadow of the Eternals, they're looking to kickstart it, so crowdfunding, and they're looking to do it episodically, right? And they've said there's going to be roughly 12 episodes, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
2
then-
to 4 hours long an
Yeah.
episode.
But the actual Kickstarter, they're looking for $1.5 million, right? Now, what I want to know is that Kickstarter just for the first episode, or is that Kickstarter for the entire project?
It must be just one episode.
Because
It must be.
if that's the Kickstarter for one episode, so $1.5 million to create a 2 to 4 hour game, like, or even just an episode, that seems a little bit steep to me.
Well, reading the splits they've got, I mean, it looks like it's for all of them because it says if you pledge, say, $50, it says you get the Shadow of Eternal Season 1, all 12 episodes. So
Oh, okay.
But the one thing that's quite concerning is how little. Well, they've got until the 7th of June. I'm not actually sure how long this has been going, but they've got 30 days, and they've raised $102,000.
Oh.
Well,
So
it's only just starting to get major media attention, right? And Eternal Darkness was a cult hit back on the GameCube. Even though I didn't play it, a lot of people love that game. So I can see it doing quite well once the snowball starts to build up momentum. That's a shit fucking metaphor. Oh well.
oh my god, did you just go with it?
Oh my god. So they're looking to maintain the horror themes of Eternal Darkness, with the physical combat, the magic, exploration, and they're going to bring back the sanity system that they used as well. The first episode is going to be called Dream Within a Dream. So that's just
Inception, baby.
Right there. Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be your dad at the end or something.
Still spinning.
It is still spinning in this one.
Yeah.
So you'll play a character called Clara. She's handmaiden and lover.
She's handmaid?
16th, yeah, handmaiden.
Okay.
And the lover of a 16th century serial killer.
Interesting.
So it's all set in a big castle, and then obviously, as Eternal Darkness did, then I'm guessing we're going to go off into these otherworldly realms and take on other bodies, other times, almost an Assassin's Creed. There's where Assassin's Creed got it from, really. Look.
So it's coming out on PC, right?
PC and Wii U, this one.
It could be good. I might give the first episode a go. On the price.
In an interview with Dennis Dyack, he said depending on how the Kickstarter does, and depending on what the fans want, it could be ported to the other consoles as well. So they're kind of open to what the fans want to do. That was a big thing that he was pushing in the interview that I see with him. He was really hoping that the fans are going to shape this game. So they're really involved on the forums and stuff, getting fan ideas for the episodes coming forwards. Fans can contribute ideas to the storylines, to the backstories of the characters. They can even submit things that you can find to read in game. Like some of the books you find in game can be fan written, which I think is a really cool idea.
Yeah,
That's
Daisy
Standalone's
doing that. Sorry to go off topic, but
when is Daisy Wait, sorry, we're going to derail for a second. When's Daisy Standalone coming out? Is there any way to find out? We need to find that out now.
They've not announced it. No, you can't find out yet. The guy's climbing Everest or something. But yeah, they got this game system where people can sort of write books and write chapters, and throughout the world you can find these books that people have written, and it's just tons of old books that have expired. The copyright they're going to have in there as well, just to sort of add to the world. It's a pretty cool idea, isn't it?
I can't wait for that game. But anyway,
me too. It's going to be fantastic. Anywho,
back to Shadows of Eternity. So, are you guys excited for this? Because if it's a good horror game, I'm going to be all over it, because I've been waiting for a good horror game for a long time.
Yeah, I think we're going to wait and see. That's what I'm going to be.
I think I'm looking forward to the idea of the bite-sized episodic content as well. It'd be a nice touch. It'll be a nice way to play it. You get it in chapter forms, and the chapters will work. If it runs like Eternal Darkness, then the chapter system will work like this.
Well, I mean, it totally worked for The Walking Dead. That was a fantastic game. So,
Game of the Year last year, right? So it worked.
Yeah, definitely.
That surprised a lot of people and publishers. I think that being Game of the Year for a lot of people, and it was just an interactive story. Really, it wasn't really a game. Well, it had game elements, but it was primarily, a story, episodic.
It was a point and click adventure, man.
Point and click game. That's what it was.
I'm hoping it sparks a bit of a renaissance for that. I mean, you've got Double Fine's Kickstarter game that's coming up, and I'm hoping that's going to be really good. I backed that. Did any of you guys back that?
I've not backed anything yet.
You Philistines.
I'm waiting for the meme, I'd back that, to come into play now. But then look at crowdfunding then. Let's move on and really look at crowdfunding then. So you say you've backed that game. Are you keen on the idea of this Kickstarter campaign idea?
Yeah, I love the fact that developers can go straight to the fans about these things, rather than looking to go to a publisher saying, look, we really want to do this game, and the publisher's like, well, are you going to get 80 Metacritic plus on that? Are you going to sell this many copies? They can go directly to the fans and say, look, we want to make this game. We know you guys have been asking for this game. Can you help us fund it? And you'll get your game and maybe some specials and things if you want to give us a little bit more money. I think it's a really good idea. It allows people to cut out the middleman, essentially.
It's a good idea, but Do you know Star Commander just came out, right, for the iPad and iPhone?
Yes,
That was I'm pretty sure that was a crowdfunded game, right?
it was.
And they had so many ideas, and they promised so much, and I think they only delivered like 30% of their whole idea.
Well, they admitted that up front as well. The developers themselves said that they may have bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
Yeah,
the
that's
actual
the only...
game is only 30% of what they wanted it to be.
Yeah,
Are we talking about a Peter Molyneux game here, or?
No,
No, but it does sound a lot like it.
you know, this is the thing, because these companies are relatively small, aren't they? They're usually indie or, you know, not that people, and they promise quite a lot, and they ask for, you know, a bit of money from people. And
I think, sorry to butt in, but I think you're touching on it there, and it's more to, I think it's quite refreshing that they've got these, you know, they want to do these things, that, you know, because it's quite easy to look at the current top 10 in any computer game shop or whatever's left and just see it filled with the same dross you see all year round, you know, with like your FIFAs and all that. So it's actually good that developers do want to like push the boundaries a bit and fill a game full of new ideas. But I think you're right. What they need to do is try and hold themselves back a little bit and just go, right, we want to do all this. What is it? This is actually feasible, rather than the older way of thinking, or the new older way.
Yeah, it's still a new thing. I think it's terrifying publishers, you know, because now there's this other way for indies to get sort of, you know, funded. You know, it is cutting out the middleman. I think it's a big shake-up. You know, I think a lot of things are going to change now. Because I know,
Does this have a home on the bigger playing field? Then do you see these developers now, the bigger ones, just going, oh, maybe we can get on that a bit then and start getting a bit of money out of them early on?
didn't EA do this? Didn't someone do this? I say EA, but it's the first person to come to my mind. I'm pretty sure.
Always with the EA. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be making this up, but I'm pretty sure one of the big guys sort of went onto Kickstarter and said, "Oh, look, offer money."
If I remember
Greedy
correctly,
bastards.
it was Obsidian.
Right?
Obsidian
Yeah.
Games to fund an RPG that they wanted to make that just wouldn't get funded any other way. There's a few really strong like candidates on that. I mean, Wasteland 2 was a really strong one, which is an old Fallout style game. That got backed. I don't know how much over its actual like budget it was, but I think it was something in the region of like 3 million or something, 4 or 5 million. It's an insane amount that they got for that, man. So it works. At the moment it works, but I think we're going to be approaching maybe like a saturation point where too many people are going on Kickstarter and like
Yeah, it seems every other day there's a new game.
yeah,
Kickstarted.
and I mean people don't have money to back everything, so like
No, but
maybe
you find your audience.
new starters and like indie games and stuff, maybe not the best place for it. I think it's a really good system for bringing back games that publishers won't touch now. So old series that people have been dying to get new entries in, that's fine. But if it gets completely swamped with indie games, like none of them are going to end up getting funded because it's going to be oversaturated.
We're seeing a lot of pixel-based games, aren't we? As well, like do you know Chasm? That's being crowdfunded. I don't know if you guys have saw that. It's kind of like a Metroidvania styled game, very pixelated graphics.
I haven't seen anything about it, but I do like Metroidvania style games, man.
There's a free demo that you can play. They released a demo on Kickstarter, which you can, you know, see what it's all about. It does look really good. But I'm just getting concerned that all these games with like pixels as the main sort of selling point.
Well,
I don't know.
You keep saying Metroidvania. Let's get a Kickstarter from Metroidvania. I want to see Samus going after the Count now. Come on.
This is the type of game. But yeah, I'm just interested to see if people are going to get sick of these sort of, you know, because they kind of look all the same, like Fairs and, you know, even this Chasm, like just it all sort of bleeds into one. What was the other game that Epic Name Bro was playing, Ben?
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight, yeah, that looks fun, but
No,
you know,
Shovel Knight looks amazing, man. I can't wait for that game personally.
yeah, I think I will get that. But we're seeing a lot of the same thing.
Do you
I
think?
feel.
Do you think Valve might even start getting on it? I mean,
No,
They don't need to, man. They're
I
rolling
know
in
they
the
don't need
monies.
to. I know they don't need to, but if you think about it, whatever they release of, say, if they decide to start bringing out the third part of any of their series, right? They got a lot of people shouting for it. So what they could do is be a bit clever and get those pre-orders in directly themselves.
they have
Well,
they have Steam Greenlight, which is kind of the same thing.
Well,
just you don't
I'm just
pledge
thinking,
money, right?
they don't need to Kickstarter anything, because as soon as that game comes out, what do you think the chief platform for selling it on is going to be? It's going to be on Steam.
no.
It's not going to be on Origin and stuff, I bet.
Yeah, but granted. But my point is, they could get the money up front, because that's what Kickstarter is, right? They don't have to wait until launch. They'll get the money up front for whenever the Kickstarter thing stops. And then they don't have to put so much of their own capital
They can't
behind
do it for sequels. Kickstarter is sort of, bring a new idea to the table and getting it funded that way. You can't kickstart a sequel, I believe, a successful sequel.
Well, you could put anything.
Imagine if they kickstarted the next FIFA game.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the worrying part, isn't it? That's where you
It's
don't
greedy,
want to see
but
it
it
go.
could work.
Technically,
It's greedy. It could work, though. You just think they would... what would they offer in return? Nothing as well. They'd say, no, that's it. You wanted it. We weren't going to make it otherwise. They could end up being like that.
£1,000 will put you in the game. Because there's some really silly kickstarting, stretch goals, they call them, aren't there? There's some really silly ones, like, if you pledge $5,000, we'll fly you over to our studio and you can...
Well, no, that's just top tier rewards, man. The stretch goals are like, as a community, if you hit that goal past the actual limit, then you unlock more things for everyone.
Okay, my mistake. So yeah, I mean if you pledge a lot of money, they'll do more for you.
Isn't that just the thing they created for the guy who made Minecraft to buy into? Because he always seems to do that. He always reads some sort of story where he's gone and done that. If a campaign's worth backing.
We're talking Notch, yeah?
Yeah, Notch, that's his name, yeah.
Dude, real talk, I love Notch, man. What a cool guy. You guys not like him?
I'm not with you.
Really?
He's okay. I follow him on Twitter, and sometimes he pisses me off.
Really? How so? Let's bitch about him. Come on.
I don't know. Do you know when he had the spat with the Yogscast guys?
Yeah, but that was kind of a misunderstanding, man.
Really?
But I don't know, maybe. Fuck
Really?
it. Anyway, guess what, people?
Anyway. What?
We are 33 days away from E3.
Holy crap.
Yay!
That
And you
is...
still don't have a theme tune for this bit.
Look!
Johnny, quickly, theme tune. For fuck's sake.
Good job.
Fucking hell.
Good job.
I didn't hear what you said.
Italy's second
You had
favourite
one
son.
job.
failed again. Italy's second favourite son behind Anthony Costa of Blue.
That hurts. That actually hurts.
Anyway, on with this.
So
bit.
yeah, 33 days to E3. I think we should do the same thing we did last week. I think we should do dream reveal and something that definitely will get revealed.
Okay.
I'm going to go in the same order again. So, Jamie, you were first last time.
Oh, I've got things going around in my head, but I think
Spill 'em.
I can save some good ones for next week. My dream reveal this week, I'd love to see Skate 4 get announced.
The best skateboarding game ever. I agree.
Yeah. Wiping the floor with Tony Hawk there.
Yep.
Well, Skate
Who?
3 was back in... Yeah. Who? Skate 3 was back in 2010. So, come on, that's 3 years now to the release. So, Black Box, you better be there. You better be at E3 this year, and you better be showing off something.
With Connect 2 support?
Fuck Connect.
That's what Microsoft want.
So what do you think they could do new with Skate 4?
You have to shout
they're
Ollie,
going to
jump.
put, like... Every time you break your leg, they'll put a Luma room, so it looks like you're in a fucking hospital or something.
I would buy that. Oh my god.
Why don't they do this thing? They could bring out like a massive plastic board which costs a ridiculous amount of money, and then it's got sensors on the side. Oh no, wait, that's already been happened.
Tony Hawk's
Tony Hawk's ride. Awful.
Well, I like Skate, don't get me wrong, but all I ever find myself doing in that game is running around the city and then just trying to jump on people, fall off my board and land on people and hurt
Just
myself.
crotch shot them midair.
That's because
I
you
think Skate 3 started to lose a bit of the online multiplayer. It wasn't as good as the previous games for that, but I think they can bring it all back in. They can look at the community aspect of it
So what would
again
you like
and
to
really
see?
work it.
Okay.
Just a better community aspect. Just
Right.
smooth a transition between playing on your own and going into an online.
Okay, and better graphics. Next generation.
Why not? Yeah, that's the thing. If they announce it now, we could be looking at PlayStation 4. Or...
You know what I liked? Which
Go on.
never happened. Do you remember when they showed Connect for the first time, and that guy showed that picture to his Connect, and they put that picture onto his skateboard? Did that ever happen?
That never fucking happened.
That was cool.
Connect can't do that. What are you on about?
Do that. Yeah.
Sorry to knock on Molyneux again, but it was almost like he came up with that idea.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Give
Sorry.
the character an acorn, it'll grow a tree.
Oh,
Yeah, please bring Skate 4 to E3 this year
Nice
and
one.
let me
Cool.
have that. Let me have that for next year. Start of next
Skate
year.
4 dream reveal. What's something that definitely will get revealed then?
SSX, I think.
SSX.
Sticking with EA and sticking with their sort of extreme sports category, I think we'll get a new SSX announced.
Did the last one do well?
No,
Oh.
I didn't enjoy the last one, and I've struggled with it overall as a brand, as a name. I think Tricky was one of the best games on the PS2. That was great. That was good multiplayer fun. Pick that up and play that with people all the time. But I don't know what they tried. Didn't somebody say last time SSX Blur was just Call of Duty on snowboards?
No,
They were just
that was the last one. The one that they released as SSX. That was originally called SSX Deadly Descents or something. And
Yeah, that
the
original
trailer
just
trailer looked
Duty
like
on
COD.
board.
It was COD,
Yeah.
basically.
Wow.
And people went
It
mad.
needs to remember-
They were like, "Nope, we ain't having this shit. We want our Tricky game." And they were like, "Okay, yeah, Trick is in it." Like, they just quickly added like a Tricky mode and stuff. And they were like, "But
Just added the theme tune.
yeah,
that was
they
it.
added the remix of the theme tune and gave you some sparkly colours." And they were like, "But yeah, the Deadly Descents mode is still there. It's still that game, just with Tricky added to it." So, all right. So, prediction
Stop banging.
SSX.
I
Sorry,
think we're
I
going to
keep
see an
kicking the
SSX.
mic stand.
Stop kicking the mic stand.
Sorry.
Anyway. Right, carry on.
Cool. Johnny, then.
Hello.
Dream reveal, man, for E3.
Okay, I have nothing. What do I? I basically want to see an awesome RPG on the Vita. That's what I want. That's my dream.
What
Oh,
type of awesome RPG are we looking for? A new IP or?
If they could somehow get like a Dark Souls-esque game. I mean, Soul Sacrifice is great, but I mean, I'm talking about, proper sword shield, leveling up stats, dealio with dragons on the Vita.
You-
Because I've been playing my Vita so much recently. It is my favorite console by far. I'm not going to lie. It's such a great system. I take it
That's
everywhere
a
with me.
big statement. That is big.
I agree.
But for somebody
Yeah.
who travels a lot, it's ideal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It really is a
Travel a lot.
portable, it's finally the console that I've always wanted. It's just annoying that it's not getting the support that it deserves. It's a bit frustrating. But no, there are some good stuff.
I think a Souls game could work really well on it, man.
Me too. Every time I watch like Dark Souls vids on it, through the YouTube app, I'm like, just give this to me now.
Even if it was just a re-release of Demon Souls, I'd take
I would
it.
buy it. Yeah, I would buy it. But games like Soul Sacrifice just show you how it could work. There's big worlds, lots of enemies on screen, lots of flashy animations and magic. And, they can pull off a lot of impressive stuff.
Mm.
So I'm just waiting for the right, big RPG world game. Yeah, we'll see.
Cool. And then one thing that definitely will get announced.
What I think will be revealed for the Vita, I'm still sticking with the Vita, is more just stuff we don't need, like more ports. I think we're going to get a lot of ports, Ben. I think that's what the Vita's getting.
Do you reckon it's just steadily going to like accumulate the PS3 back catalogue just in
I think
ports?
so, yeah. It just looks like that way, doesn't it? I'm fine with the cross-platform stuff. I don't know if you've seen Dragon's Crown, any of you.
Dragon's Crown
No.
with the big tits.
Yeah, that one. For the PS3 and the Vita. That actually looks fantastic. I'm really excited for that. I read IGN's post about it today, this morning. They had like a little, like this guy who's played like 5 hours of it. Colin Moriarty, I think it was, who played it.
Oh, I really respect that guy's opinion. So if he liked it,
He's a cool guy. Yeah, it's a lot different than I thought it would be, because once you see that trailer, you think, oh, great, boobs and battles. But he was like saying, like, there are towns and NPCs to talk to. You get like ranked on your quest. It's pretty much like what's the Golden Axe, actually.
oh,
It's
awesome.
very similar. Yeah, it's very similar to a Golden Axe. You can even like get mounts like in Golden Axe, and you have this little thing following you, and you tap on a screen to like get treasure, stuff like that.
That is just Conan with tits.
It is. It looks really
Sorry.
good.
Well, did you search it up?
When you started talking about it, I was like, what? So I've just gone and had a look. Yeah, Conan with tits.
Like a tiny little head on top of like a
Sorcerer.
massively muscled, big-titted body, man.
Yeah,
Look at the design of the elf, though. The elf looks really cool.
Okay, yeah. So there's a series of characters there. I see.
Yeah, the Amazon has the hugest thighs known to man. It looks disgusting. It makes me sick. Other than that, yeah, and that happened. Yeah.
Awesome. Jenny,
Hello.
E3, man, what's something you would love to get revealed?
I would love, right, and I actually nearly forgot about this game, and it's kind of travesty. An Enslaved 2, right? How good
Oh.
was the first Enslaved? I mean, the facial expressions are just out of this world even for its time, right? It was only a few years ago, and yet it was just fantastic. It was one of the most. It was such a surprise to have such a great game, but I mean, I keep reading that they have no intention of making a second, so there's
It
no
didn't sell
plans.
at all. It didn't sell at all, did it?
Well, that was the thing, but there was no marketing behind it. I mean, it turned up in store one day. We heard a little bit about it, and we gave it a go, and we were impressed. But no one else had heard of it. But I think now it's got that sort of reputation behind it that more people, like magazines and other outlets, will start actually getting excited about it. Whereas the first one was just total unknown. You thought it could just be another generic adventure game, but it was actually pretty decent.
Well, how did DMC sell? Because if that sold well, then you'll more than likely get a DMC sequel instead of Enslaved 2 from Ninja Theory.
I think it sold quite well, or okay, but it got a lot of backlash, didn't it, from the hardcore fans?
I don't know why, man.
I don't know why either.
Like, Devil May Cry was a really good game series, right? Because of the gameplay. Don't get me wrong, I like the cheesiness of Dante, like old Dante, but you're not exactly losing a gold mine of story and character development by rebooting it or doing a spin-off. Like,
Yeah.
I like this Dante. I thought he looked cool, and I thought he sounded, good voice actor. He had good lines. I
yeah,
don't know why
he
everyone
was
on
still
about.
cocky and stuff. I think people were like a bit taken aback by the swearing and stuff in the game, but that's just the way people talk these days. I swear all the time, more than I should. A hell of a lot more than I should. That's just the way people talk.
Well, they've so Heavenly Sword, Enslaved, and DMC. That's not a bad way to start out.
Well, you can see
It's
a
not a
clear
bad way to
progression
kick off.
as well. Like, Heavenly
Yeah.
Sword had some really good ideas. Enslaved was even better. You could see some of the combat elements they'd taken from Heavenly Sword coming forward in that. And Andy Serkis as well, I think, followed over. Right?
Did.
And then Devil May Cry, or DMC, I guess we can't call it Devil May Cry, otherwise people will bitch. That was like even better than Enslaved. It felt like Enslaved when I was playing it, but with DMC's combat, and it had a story that was just as good. Well, maybe not just as good, but it was still way more in depth than any of the previous games.
So yeah,
Cool.
No, I mean it's
Nice.
All right, one thing that you think definitely will get announced then, Janny.
the thing I'd like to see at E3, which to be honest, I'm not really sure is actually going to be announced. I'd love to see a Limbo 2 as well. I think again they can build on something like that, but I mean there's been nothing about it. I haven't heard anything about it, so it's quite unlikely. So I'd probably have.
The creator of Limbo is actually working on a new game. It's very similar in style to Limbo. It's supposed to be a lot longer though, but I don't think it's got a confirmed release date as of now.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because I know they were going. They actually went out and said that it's not going to be all grayscale. They're actually going to add a splash of color this time, which is fine. But as I said, I mean, because there's nothing being announced yet this year, I haven't heard anything about it. I really don't expect it to come up. So with that in mind, I'm probably just going to have to be boring and say, I don't know, new Mario Kart. It's hard not to get excited for a new Mario Kart, is it?
All right, new Mario Kart then, man. All right, so my dream reveal. I'm not going to go into depth about it because we already covered it on a previous podcast. I want David Hayter to voice Snake in the new Metal Gear game. That's my dream reveal. For them to come out on stage and Kojima's like, we were only joking, guys. Like, of course David's voicing Snake. That's my dream reveal. Something I definitely do think will get revealed this time, though, is despite me really wanting like a new Final Fantasy game to come to the Vita, I think one will get announced for 3DS. So yeah, I think that will happen. I think if it's not Type 0, it will be in a similar style to Type 0 as well. So
I'd be surprised if Type 0 is going to be a 3DS game. I would have thought more of a port of another one. Or maybe...
Yeah, Type 0 was on the PSP originally.
Yeah, with Type 0, I thought they were going to play around with it. It isn't going to be a direct port. They're going to change a little bit on the engine, or it's going to be tarted up a bit, I thought.
Well, the big rumor was that it was going to be released for the Vita. Like, there was even...
I hope that's still happening.
There was like a scare the other year where like a load of box art was listed, and I think it may have been Amazon's France website or something like that. And Type 0 Vita box art was on there with a price.
That was mocked up. That was a hoax.
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
Monster Hunter as well.
And it turned out to be a hoax. And with the popularity of the 3DS everywhere now, it's starting to skyrocket. I think you're going to see games like that moving to 3DS instead of Vita, even though I wish they would go the other way. Like,
Monster Hunter 4 sealed the deal for a lot of people, wasn't it? Well, for Japan's market mostly.
yeah,
You know, just because that's on the 3DS, that's going to sell a lot. Because that's what sold the PSP, Monster Hunter.
yeah.
Wasn't it?
Capcom have come
Japan.
forward as well and said that there's no plans to do any Monster Hunter for the Vita right now. So
Yeah, they did it again, didn't they? Which is...
Guys,
Yeah.
my Monster Hunter Wii U is in the post, and it will be with me tomorrow morning. Just thought I'd put that in there.
I am coming to your house.
yeah,
Yes.
I think we should do that, man. I can't get my
Yes.
Wii U until next month. I really want my Wii U, but I really want to play that game or watch you play it and vicariously live through you. So
Yeah. me
And
too.
remember that I have the 3DS version as well, so we can do it.
so we can still co-op hunt.
We can still
Yeah.
co-op the whole
Okay,
game.
well that's happening soon then.
That's definitely
Just let the
going on.
excitement roll in. Hopefully, I can talk about that next week, because I played the demo for the 3DS version a while ago, and I suck at it, but I just need a bit of practice, I think, playing the game from the beginning. So
Once you get hooked, man, 3 a.m., you'll be up until...
I'm going to end up giving you like weekly updates on this one. What have you
Oh,
been playing
please.
this week? Just Monster Hunter. What have you been playing this week? Just Monster Hunter.
I might just
find
change.
it so
I'll change the
devil,
question to what have you been hunting this week, man? It
Yeah.
will have.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, it's going to be the Hunt Corner.
Perfect. I'm joining you in that little corner.
I will definitely join you guys as well eventually.
Do it.
By the way, Wii U is £150 on Amazon at the moment. What a bargain. They took off 50 quid. Buy it now.
Buy it now. Pro tip. Buy it now. We're not sponsored by Amazon or anything.
No.
Or Nintendo, or anyone else for that matter.
Yeah. So then,
Yeah. Janny, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about mobile gaming, and I want to talk about mobile gaming with you. So
Ooh.
hit me, baby.
one more
Well,
time.
yeah, in the past couple of years, it's hard not to read a gaming article or see something online which says that mobile gaming is the future or something. And I mean, I'm quite dubious about all this. And I'll touch on that in a minute. Now, basically, what I was saying earlier about how I was playing some mobile games, I mean, there was three or four I was playing on from Google Play. One of them was called Puzzle Retreat, Blendoku, Alien Hive, and Bejeweled Blitz, just for the sake of it. Now, they're all good games in their own right. Now, I mean, Puzzle Retreat, that one is you have to like move some blocks into the holes, and it's like ice cubes basically, and it gets progressively harder. But then what happens is you get to a point. Now, it is a free game, but you get to a point where you run out of puzzles. There must be about 40 puzzles, and then you have to pay for the rest of them. So, okay, that's fine. It doesn't ask you for money at any point in the game until you finish the puzzles, and then you have to pay if you want to continue, which is fair enough for a freemium game, right? Then moving on to the others, we had Blendoki. That's actually quite a fun little game. It's imagine an artist's palette, and you've got like all the different colours. Now you've got to put them from lightest to darkest, which sounds pretty simple, but then it gets a bit more difficult, and you're against the clock as well. So the quicker you do it, the better it is. That one actually has no, that I've come across anyway, no payment model. So you actually don't hit a brick wall or anything like that. You can just continue playing, which is actually quite fun. Alien Hive, it's a bit like a
Janny,
columns game. Yes.
are you inside your oven?
I know.
No.
You're slowly disappearing, man, as you carry on talking.
Just licking out C3PO as he carries on.
You know what was happening? I'm actually looking at my tablet and I'm
You've gotten
pushing the
much
phone
worse.
away. It's gone worse.
You now
You
are
sound like a
into the-
robot.
Oh,
Talk to me.
let me reset. Right, hang on, let me reset it.
Okay, we'll cut this bit out.
Yeah, we'll just cut to you coming back.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So we're just going to mobile gaming.
Yeah.
Now
What's
that
the
you're back,
mobile?
continue.
Yeah, the impact it's having on the console market.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I just want to speak about mobile gaming and its impact on the console market or the software. Anyway, yeah, you read a lot about how the mobile game is getting more and more momentum, but the one question I always ask is, how long are we actually going to remember these mobile games for? All right, you've got Angry Birds, you've got Paper Toss and Doodle Jump and those sort of games, but there's only a handful of them that you can actually sit back and go, they're actually quite good. The rest of them, it's almost like DS all over again. There is so much shovelware, it is ridiculous. I mean,
I think the question is, how long would you play one of these games for at a time? How long can it hold you? Because I say 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and that's it. So
getting on a bus,
if they want that market, if they want just pick up and play, then fair play to them. Let them keep having a bit of that. But if I want to sit down and play a game and get immersed in a story or the visuals, I'm not going to turn to my mobile phone to do that. I'm gonna put the PS3 on at the moment.
Yeah, the impact for mobile is mostly hitting the portable market, isn't it? The DS, the 3DS,
Yeah.
the Vita.
Which is a
their
smooth
gunning
transition.
Yeah, because I see a lot of people just, instead of getting out a Game Boy as they used to, it's now just their phone, just playing whatever.
I see a lot of people bitching about the quality of mobile games, right? Gianni just did it, right? He was like, oh, no one's going to remember these games. That's not the point, right? The point is that, like, these games make a lot of money through their microtransactions. Like,
yeah.
Even if you only play them for, like, 20 minutes, like, there's a good chance that you've bought something in it. Like, I bought Draw Something, right? Yeah. And I bought the color palette as well, like a couple of color palettes in that game. And then nobody played that game a week after I bought it. So, but they don't care because they've still got the sale from me and 2 microtransactions from me. So
the worst thing.
But what happened to Zynga after that?
Well, they bought that company, right, for an exorbitant amount of money. I think it was something like $60 million or $40 million, and then nobody played that game anymore.
Okay. Yeah. There was that game. There was Song Pop. There's another game that everybody had for about 3 months, and then it just disappeared. My point is, and the other thing is, look at your game collection. How many of those are sequels, right?
My game collection now?
Look
I've
at
got a lot of original IPs, man, and a lot of indie games.
Fuck you, I hate you so much right now. The point is,
Gianni's trying to hit me with that one when I look at my collection, and it's just every Mario sequel under the sun.
Exactly. You're not going to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, I got more and more Angry Birds," right? Because you paid 69p for one of them, and you basically played the same game. And I know, but the point is, that's going to get stale. There's only so much you can actually do on a mobile device. Because there's one big limitation that a lot of people are forgetting is a touchscreen. As much as it's a great feature, it is a huge limitation to gaming.
No,
right? You can't have a decent racing game.
It's a huge limitation to traditional gaming, but for the mobile games that we've got at the moment, the Farmvilles and stuff like that, those style games, basically for want of a better term, cow clickers, which I've totally stolen from Total Biscuit, but don't watch that. It makes total sense. Essentially, all you do is graze, right? So you're doing a monotonous task, and then you've got a time that you have to wait before you can do it again, or you can pay some money to get some currency to speed it up. The mobile market is saturated with those at the moment, and they work fine on a touchscreen. I think that's why there's so many.
Again, flashbacks to Final Fantasy.
If I ever have to hear this again, I will kill myself, alright? How many more times can you put up with people playing that on the bus?
I don't know what it is.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come
Angry
on, guys.
Birds.
I'm cultured. Angry Birds. I play Angry Birds Star Wars. Get off me.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, that's really my point, though. You're not going to get a decent racing game that doesn't use buttons. You're not going to get a decent beat-em-up game that doesn't use buttons. And you're not going to get a decent adventure game like the
doesn't
Legend
really
of
matter.
Zelda.
Yeah, for me it does. Look at the key point of a driving game. You want that feel of a trigger. You want to know that you're accelerating. If you have a beat 'em up, you want the feel of the D-pad to know you're performing that combo. It's little things like
Yeah.
that I don't think you get on a touchscreen.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
and
no,
I mean,
I agree with you guys, but the thing the point you're missing is that like those aren't the games that are doing well on mobile, man. The games that are doing well on mobile are games like Angry Birds, games like Draw Something, games like Cut the Rope, simple touchscreen games that are just pick up and play. I don't
Like,
ever hear about like console quality games other than maybe what was it? The COD clone that's on there and the Zombies clone that's on there.
what's the Unreal game? That's done okay, hasn't it?
oh, Infinity War. Is it? No,
Oh, Infinity Blade. That's
Infinity
the
Blade,
only.
yeah.
Yeah, but can you think of any other games of that quality that have shown up on iOS?
Yeah, but even then,
When
that's
was the
just
last time you heard someone
slashy.
talk about that game? and it's in its second iteration. Nobody
now, I
sort of
think.
speaks about it. Is it third now? There you go. I don't even realise. Like, it's a flash in the pan unless they try and combat the bigger shortfalls it's got. You're not going to have Farmville isn't going to make millions going for years and years. It's not got a cash cow like if Nintendo put Legend of Zelda on, I don't know, on a paper game, for example, that will sell because of the name.
It will sell to gamers, man, but gamers aren't the main market of mobile devices. It's just regular people. Like, even my sister, for example, right? She doesn't consider herself a gamer at all, right? Yeah, she played Mario when she was a kid and stuff, but she plays a lot of Temple Run, but she doesn't consider it playing a game. Like, she won't say, like, when I say, what games do you play? She's like, I don't play games, but she plays Temple Run all the time. And that's the mindset that people playing mobile games have. They don't see it as gaming the way we do.
It's just become a functionality of a mobile phone,
I think that's the
hasn't
definition of the word game. I think that. I think we've had a conversation about this before, and I don't believe that just because you own a mobile, you're suddenly a gamer because you downloaded a couple of games. Gaming is a bit different. That's a social gamer, or someone who will just pick up Temple Run or Angry Birds, or whatever. But I think unless you've really sat down and really sessioned the game or really got into a storyline, that's the other thing. You can't, when you're sitting on the bus playing on your handheld, you can't get involved in a storyline. You don't have that sort of interaction, so games aren't as memorable.
Well, it depends how long you're on the bus for, man, because I had an hour-long commute the other week, and I took Persona 4 with me and played it the entire bus journey, and I had fun with my headphones in.
How can you do that? Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I tried to play Luigi's Mansion on a train, and I just couldn't do it. Because
you're playing with the 3D on, mate.
Yeah,
no, I never played with that. I'll go back to that. I never played with the 3D on, really. But yeah, that's another thing for me. Like Ben keeps going back to the point that these aren't the market. So yeah, I'm not the market for that sort of mobile game. But still, even if I was, I couldn't do it. I'm just not one of those that can sit on a moving.
But why? Why is that though? Is it because you're worried about people seeing you doing it, or just because you don't get enjoyment from playing it on the move?
I think it's the move. I think it's the motion of it. I just can't.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few others like me out there who feel the same.
I'd imagine it's quite a good split down the middle, because I honestly have no problem with it. I just slouch back, put my headphones in, and just like crack away. I wouldn't do it if it was just a 10-minute bus journey. Yeah, all right.
But no, I can't read on the move either. I can't read a book. Never know.
Really? I read a lot on the move as well. That is my primary thing that I do when I go like commuting. If it's just a 10-15 minute bus journey, I'll probably be listening to a podcast at the same time, but I'll be reading either a manga on my phone, or I'll have a book with me and I'll just be reading that.
Or just surfing 4chan.
Or just surfing, more likely porn, let's be honest. But yeah.
You see, I can't do that. I can't. No, hang on. I really should watch what I'm saying after what you guys just said. I can't play a game or read a book on the move because I can't concentrate. I can't concentrate when I'm traveling like that, unless it's like an airplane, which is a bit different. But short journeys. I mean, if you think of any heavy story-based game, and I just can't believe you'll get the same experience. And like when I first played BioShock, I turned off all the lights, had my sub turned up, and really got involved in the game. Really felt like I was part of it. Like, you don't get that on the bus. You got like a kid screaming, a tramp pissing all over the place.
Gianni.
Hello.
Gianni, what's the weather like in Syria?
Oh, not again.
Okay, but seriously then, I think what we've established here, Ben's been quite strong on the point that we're obviously not the market for these games, me and you, Gianni. You know, we want that home entertainment system set up, and we want to play like that. There is a market for it, but if it's not you, then let's say you're going to be playing Watchdogs. Can you see the integration of mobile working?
Well, yeah, I was going to
with the
ask,
home
like,
console?
Segue.
Look at that.
Carry on, Johnny.
segues. Oh, I was going to say the same thing. Like, how do you feel about like companies are adapting their strategy and the way that people are playing games? So with Dead Space 3, they added the microtransactions into the game, which didn't need it, so you can get things faster. And their justification was mobile gamers expect to pay more money to get things faster. That was their justification,
Really?
right?
But mobile gamers games are also a hell of a lot cheaper, if not free. They're not full
Yeah.
titles.
The argument doesn't stand at all.
But my argument always is, who was the biggest in mobile gaming, and what have they become? Zynga were the biggest, and they are really in trouble at the moment. Which means the only other two, I think the other biggest one is probably EA, and that's not their core model. So
Well,
you can't
EA
really
just
compare.
recently started pulling out of Facebook. They closed down the Sim Social and things like that. I don't think they're focusing on Facebook games at all anymore.
Well, that just confirms my point. As a sustainable business model, mobile gaming is not the way forward in the slightest. Not the application they've got at the moment, anyway.
All right. Well, swinging it to Watchdogs then. Is it confirmed that they're going to be releasing an app that can interact with the game? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I like the idea of it. I like the idea that somebody who doesn't play games, right, can log into that app and like fuck with my game world. I don't know why. It would piss most people off, but I like the idea that random commuters on the bus can be like, oh, who's this guy?
Your game.
What, he thinks he's trying to get away? Nope, I'm going to block him off.
It's a frightening idea, isn't it?
It adds unpredictability, and it means that the game's going to be different every time you play it. You don't know who's going to be fucking with you.
Like Dark Souls and the invasions, they can happen at any time, sort of thing. It's kind of a different spin, isn't it?
Yeah. I really like. I got excited when I heard that was going to be the case. I thought it might have been the case when we were talking about it a while ago.
Yeah.
And I was asking, and I was hoping that was going to be the case. And if it's been confirmed, then that's fantastic. It just makes the game even better in my eyes.
But won't it be a bit gimmicky? I mean, to me, it sounds a bit gimmicky, and it sounds like it'll be cool for a bit, and then you get so pissed off, like you're trying to do something, and you just can't do it because some bastard keeps stopping you, and you just be like, you know what, fuck this. How do you turn this off? I mean, does it? That's what it sort of rings a bell in my eye. I'm not saying it would be 100%, but does that not worry you? I mean,
no, not really, right? Because you would think it would annoy you, right? But it just ends up like spurring you on even harder. Like, I don't know how many times I've been playing Dark Souls and I've gotten to the area where the gargoyles are, and I've tried to make the run in human form and just been invaded almost every time. And the people there are like, obviously they're not super high level, but they've got super high level gear, and they're camping that area just to PvP with people, and you just get your ass raped every time. Like, I must have been killed at something like 15 times in a row just because I wasn't equipped to deal with them. But I didn't rage quit. It just made me like more determined, like, I'm gonna get past you guys. And eventually I did it, and the sense of satisfaction was even better. And I can see that sense of satisfaction carrying over to Watch Dogs as well.
I suppose it's a good point. I suppose. I mean, maybe you're just more dedicated than I am. I'd just be like,
like I said,
just throw my controller across the room.
That's just me, man. I know other people will feel differently about it, but I can also see there being some sort of system built into the app, whereas like you can't just go on the app and grief people. There must be a limit to it, and there must be some incentives to help as well. So I don't think you'll see everyone just griefing. There'll be a lot of people helping as well.
I mean, I'm going into this loving the idea and wanting to aid other people. I think I want to go in and be helpful.
White Knight.
Already, I'm set up to do that.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. That's a key thing for the game already for me.
I'm excited for Watch Dogs.
Was it Journey you could do that? Because, I mean, I didn't play much of Journey. I played the demo, but isn't that the game where you can, because you can't speak or anything, you can just sort of get people to follow you and help them out or something?
The idea in Journey would be that if you're disconnected from the PlayStation Network, you would do the whole game on your own. But if you've got it connected, other players would meet you along your journey, just another one at a time. And if you work together, you're stronger, basically. You've got no way of communicating apart from little icons coming up above your head. You don't know their gamer tag. that wouldn't come up until the credits. You wouldn't know anything about them. You'd have no way of knowing who it was. You can't connect to a friend. You can't choose who you go with. And then in the credits, when they roll, anyone that you've played with just comes up as a thank you.
That's really cool.
It was subtle, and it was a nice idea, and I can see that they can grow on that.
I mean, so would you think there would be something a bit along those lines with Watchdogs if you're as you someone? It sounds like maybe not like a mute, but like you can really aid someone's game.
I think it needs to be more anonymous than it was in the Dark Souls games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, because you could see their gamer tag, couldn't you? You could see who it was. I think with Watchdogs, it might be a nicer idea to have it anonymous.
When we say anonymous, I'm talking, I don't even want to know that they're doing it. I just want it to happen. Like, as I'm driving along, if there's somebody watching me through a security camera ready to fuck me up, I want it to just happen. I want those things to come out the floor and just stop me. I don't want a warning saying so-and-so is watching you. I want it just to happen, like, so that it's really just so that it's really on the spur of the moment and things just randomly occur. That would make it really good.
Cool. If you, so at that point then, are you saying you don't want any sort of indication, so it just looks like it's AI focus?
Well, I'm hoping that it doesn't happen at all if there's no player character doing it. Like, if you are playing offline, I'm hoping that those sort of events just don't happen, and it's something exclusive when you're playing connected, that people can just mess you over or help you out, and it just happens seamlessly. Maybe it could work in the same way, like there'll be like a thank you list when you complete the story mode of everyone who's hindered you or helped you along the way, like. But then, I guess if it's an app, it wouldn't really work that way. So
no, because you'd have people's mobile phone numbers rolling up the screen.
But you could have a number though of how many people have tried to hinder you and how many people have tried to help you along the way.
And those that just face palm and couldn't do either and had to quit out.
Yeah, and that's
that's me. I'll go into somebody's game just going, how do I shot web? And then I'll just quit.
Okay, John.
But Watchdogs, have you guys seen the special edition for Watchdogs, the Vigilante edition?
Yeah.
No.
So all little in-game special features aside, what are they doing with this? Because this is promoting a bad idea for me. You're going to be getting the balaclava and hat as a bonus content for it. So, like, a physical product for you to take away. Like, what are they trying to say? Do they want us walking around the streets like this?
Okay, then.
GTA 5, you're probably going to get a shotgun. I mean, I think that's probably where it's going to go now. Or a pistol.
I think a bag of crystal meth would be funnier, man. Just in every case.
Well, how many times did we open up a video game case and find something in there anyway?
The best one was porn, but I don't want to go into details on that.
Don't buy your games pre-owned, kids.
Remember that 3DS? We had like just tons of porn on it. You go up to his like little kid, and they found it.
Oh my god! Dun dun dun.
10.
We lost Janny, by the way.
Yeah. You know what? With all these special editions and everything, I think they're getting really silly. Like with what was it, Riptide? What's that? Dead Island Riptide. With the the
so
zombie
they went
bait.
ahead and released that anyway.
Only in Europe or England, I think.
The dismembered zombie corpse thing.
Yeah, like who would want that? Seriously.
Horror fans and people that collect horror memorabilia would love that. It's not something
James Cameron raised the bar again. I thought we'd.
You could say about Catherine, who wants a pizza box? I mean,
come on,
I wanted the Catherine edition.
Yeah,
that was quite cool.
The shots, I wanted
that.
that.
Very cool.
But it's how but we would say that because we think it's cool.
So there's a fine line, but between like a pizza box and a floating breast with like blood and everything.
Look, again, it might not be our cup of tea, right? But there's definitely a market out there for that thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't have sold any. It wouldn't have shifted any. I bet they sold out of their special edition. I don't know. I haven't seen the sales figures, but I'd imagine they sold their special. I don't think they'd have made enough that they wouldn't have sold through those things, man.
Hang on, didn't they have? Was it Dead Rising 2 where they had that? They had a bit of a weird limited edition one. I can't remember what it was though.
Dead Rising 2 came with the zombie doll.
Yeah. Oh, but it was all right. That wasn't too bad then. I suppose.
No, that was bad.
Depends what you did with the doll.
It's like Ken and Barbie style doll with your 18 rated zombie game.
Wasn't it just a
Yeah,
really fat zombie as well in a Hawaiian
Yeah, that's
shirt?
it. Yeah.
See, I could see it working if they gave us Chuck, right? If we had a figure of Chuck, and then maybe it was part of an additional line of action figures that were coming out, and that was like a promo to get you excited. But what the fuck are you gonna do with a fat zombie Barbie? Like, where are you even gonna put that? It wouldn't look good anywhere in your house.
You have to hide it.
Yeah, but let's face it. I think Street Fighter 4 took the piss. Really. I mean, that Ken doll. What the hell? No, it wasn't. It was Ryu. What the hell was that spelling mistake? I don't think that was a mistake.
Oh, that is. I still can't believe that happened. Do you still have it? I bet that's worth
I've still
money,
got it.
man.
I got it sealed
Right.
somewhere.
Should probably fill people in here. There was a line of figurines released along with Street Fighter 4, and if you picked up the Ryu figure in its original packaging, the word country was missing an O, and they were all recalled. So if you've still got it in the packaging, his country of origin is on the back of it.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't look at the recall notice and go, we're buying that.
But no, the Street Fighter 4 limited edition came with crappy little figures as well. Like a really shit little diorama model of Sea Viper and Ryu in a box.
Yeah, really bad.
That was pointless to me.
Blu-ray.
I would have loved. They could have given you. It could have been an incentive to pick up a fight stick. They could have given you some custom Street Fighter 4 fight stick buttons and maybe a new stick because they're all customizable. And then that would have, by proxy, increased sales of fight sticks because people would have want to use those buttons and stuff. But little figures and a shitty anime movie, I guess, just did the trick.
So, guys, SimCity 4 has been announced. Moving on.
SimCity 4? Are you sure it wasn't the Sims 4?
That's what I meant. The Sims 4. And
Go on.
they've ditched the online DRM, haven't they?
Oh, so they're not lying and claiming that this is an MMO then?
Yeah. So they had to sort of tout that as a feature. Like, you can play this
Been announced
offline.
a single player offline title.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big deal for them, though.
Yeah, it is.
When did that happen?
Today,
yeah.
Up to date news, breaking news, people.
Yeah. So you'll get this 2 days later on the podcast. The series has sold 150 million units. So they
Really?
can't be wrong. Yeah, can't be wrong.
Yeah, girls love it. What?
Yeah.
Sexist.
What? Yeah, primarily single player. Yeah, today. Fresh off the
press. Hot cakes.
hot cakes.
Hot cakes, people. Hot cakes.
Yeah.
But will people buy it now?
I think
Yes.
there's always a market for The Sims, and there always will be a market for The Sims.
Does this game work on consoles for you?
I've never played it on console, so I wouldn't know.
I thought it sucked on the Xbox 360.
It was awful. Yeah.
It's
I
been
played this-
designed for the PC, and they've never really changed that. So they just tried to literally port it over without adapting it.
Never
Well,
really
How
worked.
open is The Sims these days? Because I only played the original Sims game. I know, right? But a big draw of that for me was the fact that I could download custom skins and stuff that people had made, and I could have Goku and Vegeta sharing a house together and stuff. Can you still do that with mods now in these recent games, or is it locked out?
Well, they haven't really added mod support properly, have they? I think they were touting. I was reading somewhere that they might add mod support for Sims 4, which would be pretty decent because you had to go in roundabout ways, didn't you, before to get mods working. But now with with Steambox and Steam, with Skyrim, you can easily add mods and add and take them away. If there's something like that, that'd be really cool if they could. But then they wouldn't make the money on their they release all the add-on packs with the school life or night life or 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
That's how they make a lot of their money.
I guess
if you could
so.
if you could just simply add that content via mods.
And that definitely would happen. That would completely invalidate their expansion packs if the mods were still viable, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a balance they'd have to strike.
I think this is a bit of a cash cow at an awkward time for EA. In March, the chief executive was gone. They've been restructuring, lots of job losses. Like you said earlier, they've canned their Facebook titles. So it's a bit of a shaky time for them, and maybe they just going back to foundations that they know are strong enough for them to build a bit of momentum again.
Well, I hope they do, right? Because I know people have forgotten this already, but a few years ago, Activision was the big evil corporation, and everyone was posting their memes of Bobby Kotick and stuff. And I know he still gets thrown around from time to time. And
Still
EA were the ones who everyone was like, oh yeah, EA are really turning things around, and they're really putting focus on indie titles and things like that. And then they go and introduce all this microtransactions bollocks, and suddenly they're the Third Reich, and everyone forgets about Activision. It's just like it's going in a cycle. So EA are going to sort their shit out soon, right? And they're going to do something that will make everyone like them again. It's just a ridiculous cycle of hatred that I think people need to get over. Like companies,
I think until Miyamoto punts an old lady in the face, it's always going to be EA and Activision, isn't it?
I think so.
Well,
Nintendo.
hang on,
Carry on.
I think you're being a bit unfair, actually, because with the criticism of both EA and Activision, I think everyone's gripe with them. You only have to look at Activision, see the franchises they've bled to death and just absolutely killed. I mean, Tony Hawk's, for example, fantastic franchise. Now it's a joke, an absolute joke, right? There's no other way of putting it.
Guitar Hero as well.
What's that?
Guitar Hero as well, Gianni.
Yeah, Guitar Hero. I mean, I'm surprised that COD hasn't actually suffered the same fate, considering it's basically, well, mainly because they probably haven't changed anything about it. They've added a couple.
COD is the exception that proves the rule, I think. COD is something of its own behemoth right now. People that don't even play video games play COD. I bet there's a lot of Xboxes out there that just are COD machines, and that's
Very
the
true.
only game that gets bought for them each year. It's like its own thing, man.
There's a reason for that, and it's because they've run COD the same way FIFA's made. All right, they've got two different developers, but it's basically the same game with a couple of add-ons each year. So what they do is they've kept the engine, they've kept the core, and they've only adjusted little bits. Whereas with Tony Hawk's Tony Hawk's, they started experimenting and it just got stupid. And the same could be said for Guitar Hero. They ran out of ideas because they realised that. Yeah, that's the thing. There's only so many songs that they could sell to the mass market. Now, EA were a bit smart with Rock Band, but again, even that they've stopped supporting that now. But that's the problem with COD. As I said, because they ran it like FIFA, it's actually a great business model. But essentially, it's still my biggest gripe with both their games is there's not really that much difference between each game year on year. All right, every other year you might get a bit of a tweak to the engine, but essentially it's still not a lot has changed.
Again, people don't really look at it that way though. They're more looking at it as in like, this is this season's thing to do, right? It's like you support a football team, you buy a season ticket, right? You get that season ticket every year, but you're still going to watch the same games by the same team. It's pretty much the same way it works with COD. Like, each year, people will buy that new game because that is the game that they play that year, right? It doesn't need to change much because people want that same game, the rules of football haven't changed in years because it works. I think Activision know what they're doing, man, and that's why it's making so much money.
I think a better comparison would be the football teams updated each year rather than the actual game itself. It's the teams that essentially what change year in, year out. And people, personally, I'd rather have the option to pay for updated season. So I bought FIFA 10, and each year if I was like, I want to play with this year's teams, let me pay some money, I get all the updated roster, but I'm still playing on an older engine. I'd be happy with that.
I think a lot of people have asked for that in the past as well. But at the end of the day, if they can sell you a new $60, £40 game every year, instead of giving you that £10 roster update, they're going to do that because they're a business and they want to milk it.
Yeah, but that's the difference, though. They're not. This is the other thing. I don't spend that money each year because I don't want to pay it each year. I may buy it every 2 years, every 3 years. So there's a balance that they've got to get right. Those who are just looking for a bit of an update, and those who actually would happily buy it year in, year out. But obviously they're not going to do what I'm saying because it would probably cut a lot into their profits. But my point is, half the FIFAs could have just been gotten rid of. Same with the CODs, they could all just gotten rid of, and no one would have known the difference.
Again, it seems to be like a running theme this episode, but you're not the main FIFA audience, Janny. You've got a much broader taste in games. You like to play a lot of things. You've got more discerning tastes, man. A lot of people will just play FIFA each year, and to them, like that £140 a year is nothing because they're not buying all the different types of games that you are, man, and they're not playing all the different genres that you enjoy. They just play that one game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, granted. But I mean, as I said, if you were to play each one for the past 5 years, all right, there was one major engine change, but the point is, it was still feel pretty much the same game, you know.
Okay, well, this if we can do it leads quite nicely into the question we've been asked this week on our little Ben's Question Time corner.
Oh, is that its name? I don't think it should have that name, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll roll with it.
All right, until Gian comes up with a new name for Ben's Question Time corner in the middle of the room corner. Fun time.
Ben's Munchables?
Ben's Munchables.
Ben's bite signs question time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Ben's bite time question time.
Just for that, Jamie, you can fucking read the question.
Okay, so this week's question comes from a friend of the show, Daniel 21 Leggett.
Wait,
it doesn't. But could you imagine?
No,
could you imagine
if it
was just him every week?
Our only fan.
Don't get greedy, Leggett.
He's probably listening to this in the shower. Well, that's
so, yeah. Yes. I'm dedicating this show to Daniel Leggett in his shower right now.
Sweet. Bubble time.
But yeah. Okay, so Ben's bite-sized question time corner. Like a Muller corner. Comes from Liam Stockford, another friend of the show. Fancy that. Okay, so yeah, it leads on pretty much from what we're saying now. So if you spoil too much, you're going to ruin this question, aren't you? He's worried now, in his opinion, that the games are getting more expensive. We'll touch on that in a second. We'll get this whole question out there. But he's worried that games are getting more expensive, but he feels the quality is dropping every time. And but he also believes that we're looking at game developers thinking that this is okay. So, firstly, can I just say, like, I'm not sure I agree with the whole games getting more expensive thing. For the core product, I remember paying £50 for a NES game. If anything, they're cheaper.
Yeah, 50 was standard.
Undeniably, that games are the cheapest now that they've ever been, right? £40 now is a lot less than £40 like 10 years ago, which is like, I remember when £50 for a PS2 game was the norm, and that was like, what, about 11 years ago, where it was worth a lot more than that. And so
maybe are we looking at him thinking that, I say the core product, so when you get a boxed product, that's, say, £40 now. But to get the complete package, you do pay that little bit more.
Well, that's true. That's true. There's definitely the trend of, like, not seeing the game that you buy as a complete product. You want to see the game with its DLC as the complete product, which, again, you're going to be looking at probably $100, £80 at that point.
I begrudge still paying £40 for a download, purely because I don't see why it comes up to that cost. It's not giving me any incentive to buy a download game. I'd rather go into the store and spend £40 there, because at least you get the box, and actually I'd say a manual, but you don't even get those nowadays, do you?
Well, I guess I look at it from a different perspective, right? All of my games for the Vita I've downloaded from the PlayStation Store at their full price. And my mentality is that if I do this and they keep the prices at what they are now, so new Vita games being roughly $34.99, $29.99, if that goes completely digital in that way and those prices are frozen there, then fuck, I've completely lost my train of thought. Never mind.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but I've been on the opposite end with the Vita. First of all, because of Sony's pricing structure of the memory cards, which is a totally different conversation in itself. I've only got a 4 gig card, right? So if I keep doing that, I have to keep deleting stuff off my memory stick in order to play other games, which I find the most really infuriating thing. But I've actually waited or gone around to shop around to find a hard copy for £25. And all my games have been 25, no more than £25.
Which that definitely does happen. I completely remembered what I was about to say. So by buying all these games digitally, I'm hoping that if we transition to a digital future and all games are being bought digitally, you won't see these seedy like DLC practices and like monetizing strategies, because there's going to be no production cost of those games, really. It's just going to be hosted on a server and you download it. It's going to be cheaper for them to produce. If they keep the prices the same as they are now at retail, and just offer me a download which is a full download without the DLC because they have no production cost, then I'm fine with that. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. We'll have to see. I'm unsure about everything, to be honest. Johnny's just come back.
But what about the quality in long-running series then? Do we believe we're losing quality, or
No.
are they using this
People
time
are expecting
to
a
develop
lot
better
more
game?
than ever before. You know what? Do you know why £40 was chosen? Because
Nope.
that was supposed to be like you're basically paying for how many hours you're going to get out of it. So I think with a movies were like what, like £6, wasn't it originally?
Something like that, yeah. Back in
Like
the
per
day.
ticket. I think that like it's like £2 per hour. Like they sort of like try and base it off hourly. With video games, you're supposed to get like the average length was like 40 hours, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, but I mean, contribute
Well,
about
I was saying a couple of weeks ago how I'd love to always get about 25 to 30 hours out of a game. So
Yes.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
So would you think it'd be better if they didn't just price every new game at £40? Maybe they should price it at how long the game is or how much content is in the game. Sort of like, instead of, because every new game that comes out, every AAA game, it might just be 4 hours long, 5 hours long, but they still charge £40 for it.
But if we're talking about games getting more expensive in that regard, then what was Castlevania when that came out back in the day? That was probably £60, £70, and
Yeah.
that game can be speedrun in 25 minutes. Like,
Exactly. So where do you put the value, really?
So in that regard, so that £60 or £70 today would be well over £100 for a 25-minute game. Whereas today you can pick up a game like Skyrim, which will give you 200 hours of gameplay for £40. Like, that doesn't seem like it's getting worse to me. If anything, it's getting better.
But yeah, how desperate are you to play it? Because if you want to rush out and get a game on launch, then that's your choice, and you're choosing to hand over that much money. You don't have to do it. It's not your given right to have that game in front of you when you get home. So you're choosing to pay that amount. If, like me, making a bit of a wiser choice recently, you can hold off playing a game at launch, then do it and pay a bit less. But if there are games that you want on launch, then you're just going to have to realize that's the way it works.
Exactly.
I think
you're paying a premium to play the game early, basically. Like, all games drop in value the longer you wait after release. That is just the way the industry works. If you want to play that game when it releases, you have to pay the full price.
Less so digitally, though, right? Like, things on the Vita store are still, quite expensive.
But again,
some stuff.
That's because the Vita store is quite new. I think if the
Vita
Vita store...
It's over a year old.
I mean, some of the stuff on there is absolutely ridiculously priced.
But if
look
the
at
Vita
FIFA.
store...
I think, go back to FIFA. The last year's one's like, I think it's still like 30 odd quid. It's a £10 cheaper than the new one.
But that's just where the prices haven't been changed. What I'm saying is, if the Vita store was the primary way of getting games from the Vita, and there was more on the market, I think you'd see it work a lot more like Steam, where you'd see really deep discounts coming and stuff. But because there's only a few discounts on it at the moment, mainly through PlayStation Plus, people aren't really attracted to go on and buy things. So it's kind of it's a hard situation. They're going to need to start introducing these deeper discounts to entice people into using the service more.
Well, number one, they need to reduce the price of the memory cards for the Vita, because they're extremely expensive for what they are.
Moving aside from the Vita, you go into the PS3. That's probably the better one because it's more of an established market. The prices, I still don't agree that those prices are competitive or they need to sell. Don't forget, it's only Sony who can put pressure on themselves to do it, because the developers are still making them for the hard disk. They're not looking at digital content, whereas on the PC, they've all got the digital content thing. So,
But the point is, on the PC, boxed copies are almost dead. Hardly anybody will buy a boxed copy of a game on the PC. They'll always go through Steam, Origin, websites like that. And because those websites are getting so much business, they can afford to add the deeper discounts and stuff to entice new customers. I bet that if you look at the sales figures for Steam, yeah, and compare that to the PSN, it would dwarf it completely. The PSN, I bet, doesn't do that well, to be honest. Xbox Live, I bet, doesn't even scratch what Steam does.
Because they're not realizing the potential. They're not manning it right. And if they had more bodies involved in looking after it, they could, like you say, look at the deeper discounts and be in control of it and gain a market that wasn't there originally. So you're still going to get your box product players. Like if I want a game that is on retail, I will buy it at retail. I'd prefer that. But if it's these indie games and so on, they just need to make sure they're working it properly and, like I say, have people controlling that system better.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised they didn't have people on. I honestly think it's more price arrogance from both Microsoft and Sony that they think they can get away with it because they are basically. You know, you either buy it or you don't. Whereas Steam, there's a lot more games involved, so it's a bit more competitive.
Well, it's because Steam again it's purely digital. All of their sales come from that platform, right? Like hardly any. I wonder what the actual figure is. I bet it's less than 10% at this point that buy box copies compared to digital copies. And I bet the actual balance for like the PlayStation and the Xbox downloading full games, it's probably the other way. Like less than 10% actually download and over 90% buy the box copy.
It'd be interesting to see the figures, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna happen. Eventually, we're gonna get an all digital console generation, right? All the consoles will be download only, and at that point, I think you'll start to see the deep discounts that you see on Steam showing up on the console stores and things like that. But until that happens, they just can't afford to do it. Like when so much of their business comes from a box product, they can't afford to add these deep discounts on the digital sales that aren't really selling anyway. I take it this silence is a good thing or a bad thing.
No, it's a good point, Ben. It's a good point. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts.
Maybe it's my. I'm a bad person to talk about this. Like, I'm more than willing to pay £5 extra for a download version, just for the convenience of it being a download version.
See, but
I suppose there is you look at bus fare, you look at the annoying thing about having to get dressed, Ben, to go out.
That's pretty much all.
If you go to, there's an interesting website. If you go to steamcharts.com, you can really get an idea of what's going on, and they're showing you what's trending in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, how many people are playing it right now.
Yeah, Steam
you can get a real
that.
feel. Yeah, it's a really good chart. It's a good system.
But yeah, I'm with Jamie though. Like, you just wait a couple of months, the box goods just come right down. That's insane.
Well, yeah, I've only just picked up Hitman recently because it was £16. I've only just picked up Lollipop Chainsaw recently because it was
PS3?
£10. Yeah, PS3. And Lollipop Chainsaw last week was £10. So this week I've paid £45 for Monster Hunter because I know that one's not going to come down in price and I want to play it now.
Right,
guys,
is
Hitman Absolution free at the moment on the PS Plus system?
I think
it was last month. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Never mind then. Carry on, Johnny. 8-bit Johnny. Oh, and he dropped.
Did he?
Of course he dropped. Oh, and he's back.
Because he's got a load disc too.
Johnny, take it away.
What was that?
That pretty much sums it up. I don't know, I hope that's answered the question, kind of, that fully ramblomatic piece right there. But in all, I think I don't know about everyone else, but to me, I feel that games are cheaper than they've ever been. I feel that quality is getting better across the board. There's people, especially right now, we're in the midst of like an indie game renaissance, man. There's so many like fresh ideas coming out in
They're
the
like
indie scene.
$12.99. They're pretty cheap, aren't they? Or the indie stuff usually don't, come
Yeah,
out
I think
cheap.
if you are feeling that the games are getting stagnant and stuff, maybe look away from the AAA scene and try dipping into the indie scene, because you'll find a lot of really unique products that maybe you wouldn't have thought you'd like, and you actually do. So check it out.
I'd say the best thing for me, stop looking at reviews that just say 9 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. Look at the ones that actually give you a couple of paragraphs about a product and make your own mind up from those. Don't just go by these adverts for Tesco's on TV saying that this game's only going to be this much on launch and it's the greatest game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a final thing I'll say is I think the AAA titles and the shovelware, they're always going to be. I don't think they're going to change too much. You're not going to get. I think the AAA titles have always been great. If you look back in the history of the games, you don't look back and go, "How shit was that Mario?" You may say it hasn't aged very well, like GoldenEye, but you won't say it was shit. I think, but you guys are right though. It's the indie games which are the gems and always have been the gems. But I think those are the ones that are actually getting better. There's better quality of them. So you're right, yeah. Go for the one that's a bit obscure, which you might not have heard of, and you've heard some good rumours of, but you don't get these massive, ridiculous scores on. Maybe take a chance on a 7 out of 10, which you're not too sure on, and go for that.
Sounds good to me.
Wise words from Pixelated Jenny. Nice.
Okay, is there anything else anyone wanted to go through?
Wait, was that everything?
I think we've covered this week's topics. I think you should definitely plug what you've been doing on the channel recently, though.
Yeah, there's actually been some activity on the
There's been
channel.
some good stuff, yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, well, I'll let you plug our amazing series that we're doing.
Well, we have 2 series on the go. We have the Onimusha playthrough, Onimusha Warlords, on Extra Mode, which you'll find out what that is. We didn't know until we clicked it.
It was so good.
We should. The 3rd episode should be up by the end of this week.
3rd episode should be up by the time you're listening to this podcast, hopefully.
Okay, well that's good. And then hopefully the rest will be out next week. We hope to film the rest. And also you should see our Dark Souls videos up on the channel soon.
Again, the first episode should be up by the time you're listening to this podcast. If it's not, it's because I fucking suck at editing. But don't worry about that.
Yeah, that one I'm excited for. That one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the Dark Souls stuff's pretty cool. It's just me and Ben tackling all the bosses. And Ben's also going to make a little guide for the first bit of the game, I think.
The guide's recorded, but the gameplay is so sloppy, I think I might actually record it again. I don't know. It's just a beginner's guide where, because Dark Souls 2 is coming out, you're probably going to see Dark Souls 1 going into some sales soon. It's definitely worth picking up, and the game isn't as daunting as you may have heard it made out to be. If you take these easy steps that I'm going to show you, I mean, there's other channels that do it as well, but this is just my preferred setup. You can easily get to the first boss within an hour, and it would take... I mean, my first run, it took me like 4 hours or something to get to the first boss, mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. It just gives you a good setup, so...
That's good. And lastly, I hope to get some Soul Sacrifice stuff. We recorded some battles last night, you and I, and the videos turned out really well. I want to get some more footage for that. So I hope to do a Soul Sacrifice, I think an overview of like what to expect from Soul Sacrifice, if you should get it, what type of gamer should get it, and the content that's in the game.
With the amount that I've been playing that game, if you're free to play some, I'd love to do some boss rushes with you or some challenges or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. That's a given. So expect some Soul Sacrifice stuff on the channel, definitely.
You can also find my quick look at Game Dev Tycoon, which just went up, even though it has terrible audio quality.
No, can I just say on that one, if you watch that and you don't buy the game afterwards, there is something wrong with you.
Well, the reason I bought that game, I'm not going to lie, the reason I bought that game is because I heard a story about what the developers did. So, when the game launched, the developers themselves uploaded a cracked version of the game to leading torrent sites, right? And the game was exactly the same as the regular copy that you buy, But about halfway through the game, when you're developing all your games and stuff and you're making money, you start getting a message popping up saying your game has been like pirated this many times, and you start losing money until you go bankrupt, so you can never get too far in the game. And I just thought that is genius. It was so
very
good.
clever.
I instantly went to their website and I was like, that idea alone deserves the $7.99 that it would cost to buy this game. And it turned out to be a really fun game. It's just like Game Dev Story for the Android and stuff. It's almost like a continuation from that. So there's features that you felt maybe should have been in Game Dev Story that they've added to this version. So when you're building a game engine, you can specialize it. So you can have open world in your game engine, or you can target it towards a certain audience, which you just couldn't do before, which gives you a lot more flexibility. I got really hooked. I played it for hours yesterday. Definitely check that one out though. $7.99. It's an upstart company. It's their first game. They showed some figures, like at the end of the first day. 3,200 people had pirated it, and 215 people had bought it. Right? And I'm one of those 215
What, are you serious?
people. Yep, that happened. And on the message boards for their game, everyone was saying, "Oh, why does this piracy message keep coming up?" So they've pirated the game and then gone to complain on the message boards about it being pirated, which I think is fucking disgusting, man. It made me feel really bad. It was another reason I was glad to pay money for it.
You know what? If I pirated the game, if I had, and I'd come across that message, I would have laughed my head off and I would have gone and bought it. It would have been a kick up the arse and said, "Do this." I mean, not that I do, but I'm saying if I had, that's exactly what I'd have done, because that's a real like their developer who cares about their work, you know, and it's actually quite a fun little thing that they've done.
Well, the guys that make it must be really sound, because when you're playing the game, you get an email through in the game. I mean, you get emails all the time in the game anyway from like news outlets and stuff, and review sites that give you the review scores for your game. But an email came through from Greenheart Games, which is the studio that made it, saying, like, "Thanks very much for buying our game. It's our first game we've ever made. It means a lot to us. You rock," and stuff like that. And I just felt like, well, you guys have really made an effort. So it does suck that people are pirating it. So I basically just check it out. It's really cheap. It's really fun. You're definitely going to get your money's worth. So
Oh, excellent.
cool. Is there anything else we needed to plug?
Did you guys, Jamie or Jenny?
I'm good. No, I think we've covered everything. I'm glad you got that bit in there about the game dev.
Lovely.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's a good video. I'm really pleased with that video you've done. So
Yeah, ignore the audio issues. They're not going to happen again.
Cool.
Sweet.
listen to all these amazing Gianni game ideas on there.
Yeah. That
Yeah, it was very Jenny based. I can't help it, Jenny, man. My mind instantly goes to you.
It's
matter
because
what
the
I
audio
do.
was supplied by me. That's why.
Everything
You
should
use
be
my
supplied
audio
by
stream.
We just
Supply
hooked
me everything.
Janny up.
Cool. Well, if
my
that's
test
everything, guys, I think I'm going to call it because I'm
Yep.
sweaty.
Oh,
That's a
Oh,
nice
that'd be
image to
worth-
leave everyone with.
Yeah, enjoy that image, people.
Okay.
Sweaty burn.
All right, well, I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. See you later.
bye.
Yeah, buddy.